close. And the early muhaddithin, in looking at this, may have thought that, yes, the marketplaces were outside of Medina, and then they were brought inside of it. So they're coming close. Now, you can wake up, pull over your laptop, go onto the international marketplace, buy and sell your products, make a deal, and go back to sleep. You don't even leave your bed. Sadaqa Rasulullah is such a part of our Islam. The marketplaces will come close. So we are able, with our understanding now, to even see that these are not the words of a man just from a human understanding. These are the words coming from inspiration from the Creator of the heavens and the earth, for whom the past and the present and the future is the same. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the past, the present, and the future is the same. And that comes out in these traditions. I want to share with you a concept that I ran across some years ago. And I've been thinking about this more and more, especially in traveling in the Muslim world. Because as a young Muslim who had embraced Islam, had learned Arabic, and traveled in the Muslim countries, traveled around Asia, Africa, the Middle East, looking at the different societies, understanding the history, and there were contradictions. But now, a rise is coming. Muslim potential. It's unbelievable the things that are actually happening on the ground. I was recently in Europe last year, in Holland, and there, in Holland and Belgium, 50% of the children born in hospitals are Muslims. 1 out of every 2 child born in the hospital in Holland and in Belgium, Muslim. In France, and you wonder why are they pressurizing Muslims like this? But in Paris and Marseille, for people under 25 years old, 45% are Muslims. In Paris. Now there are people who have accepted Islam in Poland, in Greece, in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, in places that we never thought Islam was spread. And so, what is happening is like an undercurrent is happening. There's something on the ground that is going on in the Muslim world. But we need to understand our potential and not only what to do, but what not to do. So for this, I want to take some of you back to the 20th century. This history, because generally the way history is taught, they don't teach you much about the century just before you. They usually skip that, so you don't know what happened. They go back a little bit, so it's either too far back or it's too far ahead. They recently have released, they call the FBI files, where they give you the files about what happened like about 40 years ago or so. You know, and then pretty soon they'll tell you who killed Kennedy and, you know, whatever. But then by that time it won't matter anyway. See? But if we reflect on this now, and think about today, we can actually get some results. In 1945, you go back, when the Allied forces reached their pinnacle in terms of, you know, frustration with Japan, Germany, and Italy, they unleashed a power upon them that brought them to their knees. And we are aware of the fact that in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, that the nuclear bomb was unleashed. And it is said that when a nuclear weapon hit the Japanese, 100,000 people died instantly. 100,000. Within the next few weeks or so, another 100,000. And up until today, even though this new Fukushima problem, they're still suffering from the effects of nuclear fallout that hit them at that time. But the shahid for us, the witness for us, is that it brought them to their knees. The whole psyche of the Japanese was destroyed. They surrendered. The infrastructure was brought down. The Germans were also bombed out into total annihilation. The main cities of Germany were totally destroyed. Their leaders were either killed or captured. So they were both brought to their feet. But look at this. By 1965, 20 years, the Japanese and the Germans came back to be international economic powers. How did they do this? Think about this. 20 years from a near destruction to economic supremacy on earth. And look at the position of Germany now in Europe. How could they do this? What was it? This is my question even to you. Somebody might have an answer. What was it? Was it their organizational skills or their allegiance to their leaders, their resources? What is it about the Japanese people? One thing I know that they say, even in this Fukushima thing, the Japanese people have this understanding of, they have a collective understanding. That even now, when they're suffering this nuclear fallout problem, and people wanted to buy goods in the shop, and they heard that now the goods may become scarce, there were some people who were putting things back. They bought it and they put it back in the shop so other people could get some. Think about America. If they said that milk is going to run out, or that they would be buying milk with trucks of milk to bring it home to their house so they can drink milk for the next 6 months. Not even caring about their neighbors. But there's something in the Japanese culture, their collective understanding, where in times of difficulty, they can come together and drop their differences and really care about each other. Okay? So this is in a short period of time. When we look at the Muslim world right now, we make up about 26% of the Earth's population. We have some of the best natural resources. Over 50% of the mineral wealth of this world lies under our countries. We have strategic positions, strategic waterways, strategic mountain passes. Our countries are being made into just theaters of war or far-off remote stories. Like Somalia, they talk about Somali pirates. Whenever you think of Somalia. Somalia has the largest coastline in Africa. It is also the key to the Red Sea. The whole shipping of the Red Sea has to pass by their coast. In Somalia itself, especially in Hargeisa in the north, there are minerals, there are phosphates, uranium. There are minerals in that country. They had some of the best livestock in the world in Somalia. So it is not just a desert with people fighting each other. It's a strategic place like that. And you'll see this with many of the Muslim countries. You will also find that Muslims, we have youth. When they actually did a study of young people or population, and they looked at the Muslim world, about 60% of Muslims are under 25 years old. If you take all of Houston, the whole Muslim community, and come together on one plane, you're going to find the majority of the people standing there are actually under 25 years old. This is the way it is. So we're a young nation. We're a young nation. Many of the Western powers, they call them graying nations. Okay, and so we're young. We have resources. We have some of the richest people in the world. Some of our leaders, they don't even put their money in a bank account. You know, Gates has got like a bank account. But some of our leaders, they don't even have a bank account. It's the gross national product. right? They own the country. So you can't even put them in the top 10 rich people. So this is an amazing amount of wealth. We have a great history of power, a history of progress. It's unbelievable history. And we're going to be studying this, inshallah, over the next 2 weeks. That we are actually the basis of the European Renaissance. That the rebirth of knowledge in Europe started with Muslims. I'm going to prove that. So when we go into our history, we see amazing things. But this is where the contradiction is. With the great wealth, there's poverty. We have some of the poorest people on earth. And I traveled in Africa and in Asia, and especially you go in the area of Mali and Chad, in the desert, the Sahara region, and you will see people in extreme circumstances. Muslims in Zimbabwe, in Mozambique. You'll see people in extreme circumstances of poverty. Then you go to the Gulf region, and you'll see people with so much money that they don't know what to do with it. So this is a contradiction. This is what I mean by a contradiction. There's great wealth, and there's great poverty. See? There's also huge Muslim armies. Thousands of people. But yet, we still feel frustrated and humiliated. We still have this feeling. Okay? That's a contradiction. Also, we have intellectuals. We have books. Now, you could take the great books of hadith and tafsir and put it on a chip. Put it in your pocket. Whereas the ulama before would have to travel hundreds of kilometers for one hadith. You can put all the books on a chip. So it's not about knowledge, right? This is the contradiction. So this potential is causing frustration. Many people are waiting for the Mahdi. Some say the Mahdi is born. They know where he lives. They're waiting for something to happen. Okay? But the reality is we have to look at ourselves. We cannot wait for a pie in the sky, as they say. For something to come out of the sky when the potential is there. Look at the Japanese people. Did the Japanese people wait for somebody to repair their country? Did the Germans wait? No, they start working. Right? They start caring about each other. So in these verses that were read earlier tonight, in the beginning, very important verses in Surah Al-Hashr. I won't go over the Arabic, but where Allah is saying, "O you who believe have the consciousness of Allah, right? Let every soul look to what it has put forward for tomorrow, right? And observe your duty to Allah. Surely Allah is well aware of all that you do." Now here's the point. وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُم. Do not be as those people who forgot Allah, He made them forget themselves. That's the key point. Because the potential then, you forget Allah, He will make you forget. You have all this money, and there are Muslims right across your border starving to death. But you forget. You're in a state of forgetfulness. Okay, so this gives you this analysis. And this is a divine formula. Start to look at some of the ayat that come to us. It's like a formula. Okay, so this one is saying taqwa, right? Taqwa Allah. And then look at the future. Remember the Creator? Look at the future. So that's projecting to the future, right? And fear Allah. It says, then it's repeated. Wattaqullah. Okay? Allah knows everything that you're doing. Then Allah said, don't be as those who forgot Allah, who make them forget. So this is a formula for us in looking at this potential now. Because we need to try to unlock the potential. And this is the question that is being asked. This is what is happening, you see, in Egypt and in Tunisia, places like that where Muslims have overthrown a regime. And now they're sitting, they're struggling. Now,